Hello, everyone. I am Beverly Defoyne, and it's a beautiful Sunday afternoon where I am. And I am super excited to be here to hang out with one of my favorite people, and that is none other than our able, and more than able Grand Milo. So if you're joining us for the first time, if you know about Kyabi Tech IT Academy already, great. If you don't know, Kyabi Tech IT Academy is an IT training institution that trains and equips people with different IT skills at different levels and position them in the job market. Now that's just background info to get us started. So I'm going to just plug in Gramilo right now, who is joining me, and this is a very light-hearted chat, and we just want to hang out with you. Why not? So help me welcome Gramilo as I add him to join us right now. Yay, Gramilo!
Thank you.
Yay, we have you now.
I'm right here.
How are you doing? How are you feeling today?
I am doing very good. How about yourself, Beverly? It's good to see you. It's
Right,
good to be able to hang out with you.
right. I mean, I've been looking forward to this day, to us hanging out, especially
Sure.
two of us. I know that you always have a lot of things to share, and I always have a lot of questions for you too.
Of
And
course.
it's a great privilege to be hanging out with you because you are somebody that has so much that everyone should be learning from, and I'm learning a lot from you. So it's amazing to be hanging out with you again today. I'm sure that a few months back, internet connections would not let us do this smoothly, but I'm happy that this is happening today. So just to say that this is not more like an interviewee situation. It's just hanging out and talking about everything about Kyabi Tech IT Academy and why people should be part of the academy. What does the academy offer? People who are joining us, what can they hope to get? And primarily, something close to what we have coming up, the new batch, and what we can do to get people to be more interested in joining the train. So I guess that's really what our chat is about today. And I see that people are joining. That's great. So um, I think we can just, I see four people are joining us now, and many more people are going to join us as we go. So we can just have the conversation. So, when I was thinking about this conversation, I was just wondering how we can demystify this conversation and make it in a way that people can take it home, see it something that they can actually do. Because a lot of the questions that personally I have heard from other trainees in the as I interact with them is the fact that location matters a lot. But before we get into that, I would like for us to just set the baseline for what is Kiawi Tech IT Academy and what do we offer, what are we doing, what is our mission, just for like first time viewers who are joining us. And I would like for you to share that. You have a better view of what that is.
Of course. Thank you so much, Beverly. It's always a privilege to be here to discuss Kyabi Tech, especially on something that I value so much, um, information technology. Um, for those that are joining that might not know me, I'm not going to give you a long story, but I want to tell you about myself in 30 seconds, if that will help a little bit. Just to quickly say, I can say all the other things that people will say. I am Mr. This, Dr. That, I have this degree, I have that certification, and some of you might see on my wall. But that's not the most important message about me for today. The most important message is that I love what I'm doing as far as information technology is concerned, and that I got interested in IT when I was pretty young. I guess as young as maybe 10, and I didn't even know a little bit. I just seen something on computers and something, and I was just playing with electronics at that time. I used to take like um, the 6 volts, no, 12, 2 volts batteries in those days, and then I'll take like four of them, I'll connect into four, and then I'll put a little bulb in the front and the cable behind, and then it will light up, and I will be very excited. And I thought that I've done some invention at that point when I was still in very primary school way back, living with my maternal grandparents. So yeah, very excited to be here again to actually discuss this topic now a little bit in a more advanced way, but lay it more in a layman's way so that everyone can be able to take home a message that is going to be helpful. Now, that is discussing information technology, and I want to be very specific about that. But as per the question, I also want to talk about Kyabi Tech, which has been that institution that has given me that opportunity to be called a DBA. Okay, and I'm always very elated every time I have the opportunity to talk about both information technology in relation to Kyabi Tech. Two things that are related. One is an entity, the other one is a career path. So you need to know the difference how you can take. So I'm trying to differentiate that. But if you look at Kyabi Tech in terms of what they do and their mission statement, you will agree with me again, Beverly, that for those that don't know, just know that Kyabi Tech is an IT academy, right? It's an academy that it's here to empower people, through IT training by providing unlimited access to tools and resources necessary, at some point to demystify a career in the IT industry. I think it's a lot of words that I've used out there, right? But let me break it down a little bit. Let's start. The mission of our Character Academy is to empower people. Just the word empower is a key word. Empowerment is one of the key words in Character. When you grow up, when you are born like a little child, you're growing up, there has to be some degree of empowerment beginning from home upbringing, even when you transition into school, maybe primary school, secondary school, or here we call the middle schools and high schools and all the like kindergarten, whatever, there is some impartation of knowledge that empowers you to actually become whatever you desire to become. You want to become a space engineer, that starts from that very little stage, right? So that is what Caritech does. It picks you from, we call them our baby. We picks you from a baby, not baby age, but from the IT perspective, from the baby, and we nurture you into a full blown IT person in the areas that we do cover, which I'm going to talk about it a little bit later. But I wanted to talk a little bit about that word empowerment. That's what we do. That is one of our strengths. The next thing was providing unlimited access. So we say unlimited. That means if you come to Kyabi Tech, you never leave the same. The access to material, the access to questions, the access to instructor, the access to mentors, the access to resume building, the access to all the things that we do that sets you on the path of success is what we call unlimited access to tools. And these tools, I've already mentioned them. Some of them are resumes, some of them are course materials, some of them are human tools like the instructors, the mentors, right? And even our webinars are still tools that we're trying, but even talk shows like this one is a tool we are trying to offer you out there through our communication department, right? That can help you for success. And then they say, and for those of you that are very familiar with English language, the word and is a conjunction, right? That means it joins two ideas together. There's a reason why I stress on certain things, like the word and. That means we are bringing two ideas together, we're bringing the tools and the what? The necessary what? The resources that we can provide to you. Right now, Cawitech has an affiliate organization called the Optech, and that's a necessary resource that for those of you that finish Cawitech and you're applying for job and you need some real hands-on mentoring, you come to the hub. We call it the tech hub, and then be able to. That's a resource that
Right.
Tech is also offering. So we are joining the tools that we have as an academy with a consulting part of it. And to end it up, we want to demystify a career in IT. Because at first, even when I came to this country, I was asked to go do CNA. And I said, no, I will not do CNA. We want to make people understand that you must not do CNA. You have to live up to your dreams. How could I have killed a dream that I started when I was just 10 years old? So that's the entire mission of Kyabi Tech Beverly. I know it took me a little bit long, but I needed to break it down so that people are not we just don't throw words out there. People are wondering, what is this empowerment all about? What is this demystifying all about? What is this unlimited access to tools and resources all about? You know,
Wow.
thank you. Yeah.
That's 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 I don't know what to say, but for you that I know you, I mean, your responses are always very in depth. You are not a shallow person, so I expected you to to
Thank
go
you. I
in depth.
try.
Yeah. You are not shallow. You always have very in depth
Yeah.
answers. And at some point, we were learning English, conjunction, and all of that in in what you were saying. So thank you for sharing about that. That kind of lays the foundation for what we're just chatting about today. Welcome, everyone. I see Vandeline has joined. I see Ngwa Nadesh has joined, and she said she saw the Kiawi Tech Hub in Boya. That's amazing. Okay, that's great, and
Yes.
we're happy that you're joining I mean, to learn more and for us to have this chat because, I mean, Kiawi Tech is global. It's been global virtually, and hopefully we're getting global physically, like in different locations, and that's why
Yeah.
we see the hub in Boya. So that's amazing, Nadesh. We're happy to have you hanging with us, and you feel free to ask your questions. Anything you want to know about Kiabi Tech IT Academy, the courses that are offered. Ramilo equally mentioned that there are different courses that Kiabi Tech offers, which are SQL database administration. There is Azure that you mentioned. There is AWS in partnership with other institutions. And now we're launching cybersecurity. So you have a lot of options to choose from for what you want to do. You might not have a background in IT. That's a question that a lot of people always ask. Like, do I need any prior knowledge? Do I need any background? And good news, you don't need any. You can just come on and we take you from scratch, from zero up to the point where you would feel comfortable. When I listen to testimonies as to testimonials, Grammy of people saying how they couldn't move a mouse when they started the course, and at the end of today, they are DBAs. I'm like, is
Yeah.
that a fairy tale or it's real? And the other day, someone was testifying how they didn't know how to share their screen. They didn't even know, and the instructor was like, "Go down to that button down there that looks like." So I'm like, if people can start at that level where they really have zero knowledge, they don't even know how to move a mouse and all of that, and they can get to this point where they can, be proud DBAs, database administrators, then that is great, and that speaks to the empowerment part of the academy that you were talking about. Because I picked up some keywords from what you were saying, empowerment. I picked up that word, which is a very strong word to me, because um, a lot of times these days, young people, especially young people, I'm not saying that this course is just for young people. Really, they want to get jobs like quick, but they don't want to get the skill. They don't want to empower themselves with the skill that will get them that job. So it's great. Oh, we see Windham Som is joining us, watching from Bamenda. Thank you very much for joining, hanging with us, and feel free to ask your questions, anything that you want to know about Kiawi Tech IT Academy and how you can be part of this growing and ever growing community. So yes, Gramila was saying that I picked up empowerment from what you were saying, and I picked up access. Access is a very strong word for me. Like, you can have someone as a friend, but you don't have access to them.
Yes. Very
Like,
true.
it's like you and I can be working together, but I don't have access. Access is a very deep thing when I think about it. So access to me is something that's really deep. Like, how do you, and there are people that can still be part of a community, but they still don't have access because there are certain things you need to do to unlock certain parts of a community to be able to get the best of the community. Like, if we have a WhatsApp group, for example, where people are around trying to help each other, and you have questions and you cannot ask, then you have a community and you don't have access because you cannot reach out to
Exactly.
people in the community to help. So I picked up that, and that's very important, giving access. And one thing I particularly love about Kiawi Tech, I've been part of this community for close to 2 years now, I would say, and specifically in the communications team. But I've been interacting with everyone across communications and instructors and everything. And something that I find very unique is how accessible instructors make themselves. You know, we come from a context where when people feel important, they feel that they should not be available that much to prove how important they are. I don't know if you get the point.
I get
Yeah,
it.
yeah. So people feel that, okay, I am so important, so that means I shouldn't be that available. But here, the more important people get, the more down to earth they get, and the more available they get. I mean, I see you, Graham Milo, like, hey, I want to hang out this Sunday with my students. Anybody
Yeah,
come hang out? That's amazing because that's not like the regular class. That's
yeah.
just catch up for people to come, ask their questions, and get clarity on certain things. So I find that very commendable about this community for the time that I've been in. And I really think that it's a great community that I would highly recommend. And for those that are joining us, if you have any questions, you can feel free to ask them as we go. And I think that I had a question about the tools. I think you mentioned tools as well. I was wondering if you could like just enumerate a little bit more about those tools, like what tools are available during training and after training for students.
Sure, of course. Like I already mentioned earlier, we have unlimited access to tools once you register into our program. And some of the tools that we're going to uh, have you actually gain access to it is will be first our course structure, right?
Right.
Why do I start with our cost structure? Our cost structure is super important. It's one of the greatest tool every trainee always love in our program. The reason is that at least the trainees have something that they can hold us accountable, right? If we don't offer them that, if you come into Tech, you pay your fees, you should have something that we have to deliver. We are offering that, okay, by the end of your 6 months, we will have delivered you this program. That's the first thing about our cost structure that makes it important. The second thing that makes our cost structure important is that it is not just the fact that you can take a piece of paper and you write down some topics and you give it out. No, we actually go into the research. We talk to companies out there. We look at what we can call them the industry standard topics that are being handled. And then before we design, we carefully design our cost structure to allow our trainees be successful out there upon graduation. That is why our cost structure is a big tool. And our cost structure it's not just one page, it's not 2 pages, not three. Our cost structure is 28 pages. That tells you the amount of work that we have put in to be able to come up with that cost structure. That's another one. The other thing about our cost structure is that you will be able to even study ahead of time, given that you have that cost structure as a trainee. If you're smart enough, you don't need grab me low. You don't need an instructor to tell you that, okay, we are on module one and we're almost finishing module one, and you have a library time. When you go to library time, you can start reading module two. So that's the first tool that we have. The second one that you will have will grant you access to will be the study material that we have. When you come into Tech after 2 weeks and after you finish your computer basics, there is a welcome package that is being sent out to you. In that welcome package, we have our cost structure is part of it. We have the software, like we teach you Microsoft SQL Server, right? And we're going to give you different copies of it, licensed copy. We don't deal with pirated stuff. Licensed copy of Microsoft SQL Server, right? That's a tool that you need for your own practice. You can build your personal lab both at home on your personal computer so that whatever you learn in class, you can be able to go practice. That's a tool that we give you access to. Some people may not have 45,000 US dollars to go buy a license for that, right? But Kyabi will do that. The other thing that we will give you when it comes to that welcome pack as a tool too is what? And as part of the course material is two PDFs, two textbooks, which are in PDFs, right? We give you those two textbooks in PDF so that you can be able to do what? To study those. You can buy it. Like me, sometimes I'm a little old school. Well, though Cavitech provided those during my batch, what happened? I still went on Amazon and I bought my copies. I still have my copies right over there, two of them, right? And I can literally show you. But you have them in PDF. The books are right here. Give me a second, guys. Sorry.
Okay, while Gramila is trying to find those books, yeah, that's him. He's very practical. He
One of
likes to talk
them.
and show you. So
Yeah.
feel free to join. Tell us where you're watching us from and anything you want to know specifically about Kiawi Tech IT Academy and how we can be helpful to get you to join our next batch. So there you go, Inside Out, SQL Server 2017 Administration.
Yes, this is one of the textbooks that you're gonna receive a PDF copy of this book. As you can see how voluminous this. You're gonna have two copies. This one with another one that I cannot find the hard copy on my shelf. I don't know why, but it should be here. But this is one of the textbooks that you receive. That's a tool, right? That's what I will say. Access to unlimited tools. We'll give you all of this. You don't need to be thinking because when you go to look for a book about SQL Server, just go type SQL Server textbooks in Amazon, you're going to have thousands, if not millions of books.
Right.
So that's why I mentioned the fact that we go out there, we research, we know what is workable out there. If we are recommending this book, that means it's workable. Even at work, sometimes when I first started working, I have to take this book to work. If something, well, I reference it. Okay, so it is good that you have access to that. The other tools that you're having are human tools. Our mentoring program, our mentors are doing amazing, just amazing. You need to listen to the stories on how our mentors talk on one-on-one with our trainees in building their resumes, in helping them prepare them for interviews. You know, if you have an interview tomorrow, you meet with your mentor today. After the interview, you need to come back and debrief with your mentor. That is not found anywhere. And again, these mentors are doing this pro bono, free of charge. That is a community we are building, and we're giving you access to these tools. What about the instructors? We teach in class. And after we teach in class, we still allow trainees to text us on WhatsApp, ask us questions, maybe just to gain additional clarity on maybe on a topic. Some topics are easy, some topics are challenging, just like in every career. But I guarantee you, when you put the tidbits together, they're gonna tie up and they're gonna grant you that success that you need. So we have a lot of other tools like sample resumes at the end that you may need if you want to start working on your resume once you hit the fifth one in our program. And also, we also have a very big tool that I would like to discuss it, Beverly, which is one of the things that have kept us afloat as an institution. And that is what we call the Open My Offer Letter, OMO, in 60 days. Open My Offer Letter in 60 days. Please.
Wow. You know,
Open.
Gabriel,
Yes.
when sorry to cut you. You know, I have listened to some of the conversations that you've had with your students, especially those who've gotten jobs and they come back to get on the hot seat to talk about their experience and how and all of that. And the other day, I was really amazed at a student who was talking about how you asked a question. I don't know if it was you about what is a database, and
Yes.
they did not remember what a database is, and you were so mad.
I was so pissed off. It was Mr. Beltos that asked the question during one of our capstone project,
Right.
and this trainee did not could not answer the question, and I really got pissed off because I had left that class the week prior to that. and we had really taken down time to break it down and all of that. And
Mhm.
I, for that particular training, because I was kind of a little close to him, I felt at some point like I became a little hard on him after
Emotionally,
that.
yeah,
I became a little bit very hard on him, but that instead set him on the path of success.
exactly. And
Because
that's the point
today, as we
that
speak, he
that
is a
that
DBA.
how hard you were instead made him to be like, oh my god, I've been challenged, so I need to work extra hard
Yes,
to be able to get this. And he was now testifying from a six-figure seat. He got
yeah,
a job already, and now he's like, okay,
yes.
so this is great. I mean, and just to mention that as you talk about
Yes,
my
yes. So those are the things that we do. Those are the some of the tools that I'm talking. We are mentioning, and the accessibility, the access that we do offer our trainees when you come to Caritech, right? So, but again, like I was saying, I wanted to talk a little bit about open my offer letter in 60 days. Maybe let me say it slowly. Open my offer letter in 60 days. How good does that sound? Because let me tell you guys, the interview process for every IT job is cumbersome. Super, super cumbersome. You need to have applied. After apply, a recruiter reach out. After a recruiter reach out, or HR reach out to hiring manager. Manager interview you, send you to the team. The team interview maybe in some company to send you to the chief technology officer, and it goes on. And so you are like, when will this end? And then sometimes you will spend time like that. You go to one, two, three, four, five interview, and at the end they will write you that email. That email that starts with the word unfortunately, right?
right,
And then you are struggling to see how you can turn that one that says, Dear Beverly, unfortunately. No, you want that one that says, Dear Beverly, we are pleased. You see the difference?
right.
Those two phrases makes a whole lot of difference. And this is can only be achieved when you go through our OMO, our offer letter, where we bring in flavors of different mentors now that will grill you both internally and outside. Okay. And once you see that, you will remember that it is because you were patient enough to go through our open my offer letter, listen to advice, get questions, answers, get corrected, and that make you better. That is one big tool that Caritech has that a lot of other institutions, I will tell you, don't offer that. And take it from me, guys. I have done Linux training in this country. I've done Scrum Master. I've done AWS, doing DevOps. I've done all different kinds of training across different schools, right? But I have not come across any school yet that is doing the open my offer letter in 60 days. That is meant to spend 60 days of their time free of charge to help you get a job.
Wow. I mean, that's so
You know?
intense,
Yeah.
because even the potential trainees that
Yeah.
I meet and who get interested, they're always like, okay, so after the 6 months of training, what next? What happens? How do you support me to get into the job market? I think the open my offer letter just answers that question perfectly well, because it's that process where you are now being able to go through some sort of a refining process of what you know, and your CV and all of the things to position them well, and to be able to go out there. And I've also heard stories of people who have finished and they don't feel confident enough to approach the job market. And I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, so what more confidence, what more do they need to be able to like hit the job market confidently? And I remember last Saturday we were speaking during a webinar, and one trainee who got a job was like, I mean, she was just not feeling very confident, perhaps not really taking the bold step to go into the job market when she finished her training. And when one of the instructors got really mad at her, like, what are you still doing? What are you working on your CV? You should be out there in the job market. And she was like, okay, this is a challenge. I'm taking it and I'm going into the job market. And when she got in, I think from the first four callbacks, she got a job. And
Yeah.
that's like, okay, so it's there is that fear that you have to first overcome from your own self. That's a fear that Kawite cannot overcome for you. You have to overcome it yourself. But the community is there to help you even see that you have that fear in you and help you overcome that fear by reminding you that, hey, you have to go out there, apply as much as you can. And of course, you would definitely get a job. And I'll just like us to share a little bit more like about how much um, Kyabi Tech has been able to empower for the past over 5 years, like the numbers and people across the world, because I'm sure that some people might be watching, maybe from the US, from Europe, from Africa, I don't know, or most, but people might be wondering, like, okay, how is this training coordinated? Is it online? How long is the training? Um, and what are the possibilities? And also, I always like to bring up this question about automation. Like, people are getting scared about AI. Like, when I have conversations with people, they're getting really scared that AI is going to take over some of our jobs. Gramila, how would you feel that AI will be able to do what you're doing?
Nah, that's. I mean, let me just put it point blank. That's a fat lie. That's never
Okay.
gonna happen. Never,
Okay.
never, guys. Never. Just write the word never. But you have asked a series of questions. Let me start from the beginning so that I can go forward in explaining what is happening, right? In
Right.
terms of number, guys, I will be honest with you. I honestly don't know the number. I can estimate it.
Yeah.
I was in Kawitech in batch 8, and in my batch we had two classes. We had the A class and the B class. In my A class we were approximately 48 of us. Probably not all 48 completed. Some A few people dropped, to be honest. In the B class, I guess there was fewer. There were more like maybe 25 of them in number. So a total of an estimate of my entire batch at the time was just 80 people, if not 90, right? But after that, the numbers just started going up. And then I started teaching in batch 10. Sorry, in batch 9. And I guess in batch 9, the total number for batch 9 was like 150, if not 160. And then batch 10, that one of the batches that got a lot of jobs, like almost everyone in that class got a job. They were like 200. Then batch 11 was even worse. I remember in our orientation, they were in batch for batch 11, I think they were like 390 something trainees on that call. Of course, not all of them were students, but maybe instructors were there and all that. But just 300, and it's a lot. It's a number. We divide now. That's when we started coming up now with three classes where we have a Europe, the B3 class where you have people that are in Europe, in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in Kenya, and across the globe, in that side because of their time difference, right? They also, that it's from, I think it's from batch 11 and 12 that we came up with all of that. So you could see that the numbers kept, going up, and this Saturday coming up, we are starting batch 15. So just think about that. If numbers were being increasing from batch 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, we're getting to 15. That's the seventh batch. Then you can imagine the number of trainees that we've already trained out there, not to talk of the numbers that we have actually placed them on the job market. Right. I think in the next talk show that I'll have an opportunity to do as a director of public relations, that information is public information for us because we do celebrate them publicly. So if the public wants to know how many people are placed in the U.S. job market or all over the world, why not? They should know. I should be able to be prepared to bring all of that. You
Right.
understand? Yeah. But let me say the other part of the question they asked about how this course is being offered. Guys, a lot of things, information technology have transformed the way we live our lives. It has transformed the way we travel, transformed the way we even eat or buy, get food items, transformed the way our help and help medical doctors administer their services as medical profession. It has transformed the way lawyers, teachers, and what have you have, life generally, right? It has transformed. And teaching now, it has also transformed, especially during COVID and post COVID. So all our classes are 100% remote, 100% online. You can take this program at the comfort of your bedroom if you choose to be in your bedroom, right? You can take it at the comfort of your bedroom for all 6 months, do practically all the practice online, everything on your computer will set you up for success when you start, right? Building your computer, installing all the softwares that you need, setting up your environment to even mimic the work environment that you're going to be seeing in future when you get a job, so that you can be successful. Everything is 100% online, guys. Okay?
Right.
And this is very important. And this is important because gone are those days when an academy like Kyabi Tech will go to rent a big building, pay big bills, pay all of this and all of that. And I remember at one point when I used to live in the East Coast in Maryland, there was this course that came up at one time, and I was really interested in the course. And that course was going to run for 4 months, and they were charging me $10,000. Right now, $10,000, if you exchange it to franc CFA, that would be 6.2 million with the present exchange rate.
Wow.
That was how much they were charging me for a 4-month program at the time.
When you talk about charging, I remember the one student in one of those our celebration webinars who said that when he heard of how much a group was charging to prepare someone for interview, he was
Yeah.
like, "No, let's go take over my offer letter seriously," because
Exactly.
I go pay that amount of money for the
Yeah.
same value for the same
And
thing.
now
Supposed
we
to be.
get cases like that.
Mhm.
Yes, we get cases like that, Beverly. So you see, there are people out there um that don't they care about the money than the empowerment part of it. You understand?
Right.
Yes, the people out there care about the money. Please, please do not get us wrong. If you come to Kyabi Tech, you will pay our fees. I guarantee you. You will
Right.
pay our fees.
Yeah, and I'm sure that
But the difference that we make is that we care about your success first. We make sure that we are giving you that access to the tools that will make you succeed. We'll make sure that we are setting you up for success. We'll make sure that we're advising you. I mean, Beverly was just mentioning here that there is sometime on Sundays like this, I'll take my family time and I will say, hang out with Gramilo. Just come on Zoom, hang out with me. You can even bring a glass of wine. But let's discuss technical issues. Let's discuss application process. Let's discuss job market. Let's discuss resume building. Why sipping some wine? Don't make it too hard on you. That's the difference we bring to the table, Beverly. That's the difference. And now, before the cost, if you look at the what we call the ROI when you complete from a Kyabi Tech, that means what? The return on investment when you pay the fees. I remember when I got my first paycheck, I was laying down on the couch and the alert came in, tang, on my phone, and I looked at it. And then I thought that something was wrong. I was like, let me wipe my eyes very well. Like, this is real for real.
right.
And even at that, I still did not believe it because my paycheck comes after every 2 weeks. I waited for the next 2 weeks to see if it will come. Maybe these people will say, no, this money is too much for you. We cannot be paying you this kind of money. The next 2 weeks it happened. The next again it happened, and then it happened, and then it keeps. And now I received a letter in June this year saying, "Oh, congratulations, Mr. Milton, you have successfully completed 2 years of your service as a DBA."
Hmm.
I was like, "This is amazing." You
Wow.
understand? So if you are listening to me today, like Beverly said, our course structure is we're well structured. We give you access. You take your classes all online. Okay, now we have an opportunity for people to come in, not for classes but for mentoring in our tech hub. Like someone mentioned, we are building a tech hub in Boya for those that are in Cameroon. When
Right.
you complete, if you are in Yaoundé, take your class while in Yaoundé. You don't need to move over to Boya. But the
Absolutely.
moment you finish and you want some mentoring, if you get a job that you're working remotely and you feel like you need to be mentored by a senior DBA, come over to Boya. Come over to the Tech Hub in Boya.
Wow.
In December, I will be in Boya to see the Tech Hub as a director of public relations. I'll try to see. I will be there to visit it officially to see if it meets the standard, because that's another thing about Caritech. We are taking time to build everything we want to do. We do not rush over things. We want to make sure that we are offering a solid standard to all our trainees and the general public that comes. We need to make sure that the switches are well built, the computers are well positioned, the bandwidth that comes in there is okay, the building is secure, security and all of that, and everything. What about the software? No piracy there. We are a US-based organization, and we follow the US State Department's laws on how we have to set up every kind of business across the globe without breaking any law. Okay, so we want to make sure that all of that is standardized in a way that. So I will be visiting that in December to make sure that all of that. And I'm having that conversation with the CEO, Dr. Dennis Kyabi, who is actually giving me that authorization to go there and then make my evaluation. Again, given again my background, I started my IT journey as a computer technician. I know how to do break fix, repair computer, change power supply, hard drive, memory, motherboards, and what have you. I've been doing that for years. Okay, and now I transitioned to doing a service desk analyst, engineer work, and then finally work as a senior end user technician for Pearson, which we'll talk about a little bit later because of certification. And now I did my also doing in cybersecurity and of course, a couple of certifications, and now I am a full-time DBA. There's a reason I mention all of this. It is not to show how much I've studied, but it's to tell you that the IT community, the information technology, requires you to have what a Frenchman would call un peu de tout. A bit of
Exactly.
everything.
You know,
You need to
when
have a
you say
tidbit
that,
of everything.
Romeo, when you say that, it immediately brings my attention to what I was just thinking about. I mean, how Kiawi Tech is also preparing, to adapt to the ever evolving technology. And hearing all of these things that you are learning is also some sort of something that I think all DBAs, even those who've gotten jobs, should pick
Yeah,
up on, because it's one thing to get a job and it's an entirely different thing to maintain the job. Because someone said in one of the webinars that you can go to bed thinking that when your maybe your SQL version is something else and you want to wake up tomorrow morning, it's been updated into something else. Things have
yes.
changed. You have to patch and do certain things and all of that. And things might completely change. So I was just thinking if you could just also share a bit on that, like how Kiawi Tech is working to be able to meet up with the ever evolving technology, and how they're bringing their trainees along with them in that process. As in, yeah, because some people feel that after the getting the DBA job, that's it. I just hang it in my job. I don't need to learn anymore. Do people need to do more courses, keep checking for updates? Anything has changed and things like that to stay afloat, like you mentioned.
Sure. Of course, yes. No. And guys, it's not even just about Caritech, right? I like to be frank with you about this. And we, Caritech, we are trying to be honest. We don't want to set a wrong precedent for anybody, not even our trainees. The first thing, if you're joining in IT, just remember the one thing, that if you want to build a career in IT, you're going to continuously going to be doing some kind of school. It could be self-paced school, it could be regular school, it could be just certification until you die because of the ever-evolving nature of it. Right
Right.
now, what does Caritech do to our trainees to set this? First, when you come in, especially under the Directorate of Public Relations, we encourage you to that upon leaving Caritech at least have one cert. It doesn't matter if it is an entry level certification. The next time I have an opportunity to focus only on interviews, discussing only interviews, I will explain to you how interviews are just a game. And I'll prove it to you that when you take one cert, it can contribute maybe 20, maybe 30, maybe 40% of that game in your interview. That's the
Wow.
first thing Caritech does. It encourages all the trainees to keep up to date by getting certification, especially with everything going cloud now, the AZ 900, AZ 104, the AZ 300. Those are the certifications you need to start thinking about. If you're listening to me and you're a trainee in Caritech, that's what you should start thinking about, especially batch 13 and 14. Okay, should start thinking about that. And even batch 15, as you're coming in, don't say you are not informed. Use this medium to get informed. That's one thing we do. The other thing that Caritech also does is that when you do SQL, for instance, as part of us helping our trainees to see that the trend is growing, is that we, at the end of your course, we teach some extra things to you that are not in our curriculum. For instance, we'll teach you Jira as a ticketing system. We'll teach you ServiceNow as a ticketing system. And we'll do you an introduction to Azure, which is cloud. It's not part of your SQL, but we do that. Because when you go to the job market, they would advertise a DBA role, but they will say some basic knowledge of Azure or any public cloud like AWS or GCP. We do that. We also teach you introduction of SSIS. That's Microsoft integration services. Okay, and SSRS reporting services. So we do all of those things, and that is our way of helping you keep on the high. Because when you look at the job description in one company and then it will be basic, you want to look at another one, it will not be basic. But we want our trainees to be covered all around. I think the other thing that we also do to pull our trainees all along in this ever-changing nature of the IT is that we sit down and we edit our curriculum once every year. That is why some of us studied database mirroring, and today it is out of our cost structure. You can see database mirroring in our cost structure. We took it out and replaced by what? Always on availability group, because Microsoft deprecated it. My trainees as of last year were taking the MTA exams. June, Microsoft deprecated it. We no longer offer it. You understand? We are now moving to the AZ, the Azure 104, the Azure 900. Like I said earlier, that is a way of helping you, providing you with up-to-date information. And we always tell our training, when you even get that job, the other thing that Caritech has done is that we have a community forum, that we have people that are working. When you go there are questions. That even now, I think in our last year, let me tell you what happened. In our last year's summit, Beverly, we had a presentation on Microsoft SQL Server 2022. Think about that.
Wow.
2022. Remember, even in my job right now, we are still struggling to migrate to 2019. We are still, a lot of our database are still in 2016. We're
Interesting.
still migrating some to 2019. Now 2022 is already out. So
Right.
even when you go into the job, you have to keep learning. As a matter
Right.
of fact, I've been asked to learn and study PowerShell. So I'm going back to school again. I don't know if I should
Oh
start
my
crying.
God.
Start crying.
That is interesting. And I love the fact that you are really, really frank about that
Yeah.
so that people are not misled to think
Yes.
that it's when you get a job, it's like you've gotten to the destination. it's not the destination yet, because for you to maintain it, you have to keep updating your skills, keep learning. And I totally agree to this. I mean, most, even all of the trainees who come back to testify how they got jobs, keep saying, oh, I keep checking for updates, I keep even going to learn new skills so as to be able to stay abreast with what is happening in the IT world. And things just change overnight. You just wake
I
up the
mean,
next morning and
the
things,
changes,
you know,
the
when I
ticketing
just look at
system at my
how
job,
changes,
I've
yeah,
never used it. When I got in there, I was like, what's going on? I teach ticketing system. I know service now. I've worked, I know I master service now to my fingertips. I teach Jira, but this one was called Footprints. I have never seen it. But guess what? Just this week, we are moving away from it.
wow, exactly.
We are
And
moving away from me. And then even our monitoring tool in my job, we're using another monitoring tool. And guess what? We just spent about 147,000 to acquire a new one. I'm still struggling to learn that one. Now a new one is coming. So it is real. Our CEO has always said that. Dr. Dennis has always said that if you leave SQL for one day, SQL will
SQL
leave you
leaves you for 1 week.
for one week. It is the same. If you leave anything they have to do in IT, it leaves you for one week. So
Right,
we want to be frank about it. He loves this kind of conversation. Dr. Dennis is one of those persons that wants to see people improve and grow. That is the community we are building. That is the empowerment that we bring to the table as Kyabi Tech community. And he has instilled that in all of us, right? So when I sit here on public TV and I have to talk about these things, I'm not scared. I'm not feeling down. Rather, oh, my CEO asked me, why did you say this? Because these are the things he loves. These are the things he wants to hear. We want to be frank with people. We want to make sure that people are making the right decision. And
right,
again, we are not saying we believe that everyone can do IT. But the question is, do you believe that you can do it? Can you be committed? Can you make a commitment to be able to do it? And again, we also can agree that it's not every career that is with everyone. My family all along ever wanted me to be a medical doctor. I can do everything with maybe even operate someone with a knife, but I cannot pierce. I can use a syringe. That scared the hell out of me. You see what I'm saying? So we believe that people have that God can bless people differently in different career. But if you feel that God is pushing you to Kyabi Tech and into IT, please come to us. We don't
right.
need you to have a big commitment. We just need a little. Even if it's just 100, bring that 100 commitment,
Yeah,
then we'll boost it up for
yeah,
you to be able to get to where you want to go to. You can start there. Even some people in the past that I had this conversation with Dr. Dennis, where we're saying a time is coming when we'll start asking people to just go do help desk, right? We'll call it, I used to call it the humble beginning. At least that's where I started. One of my first job in the United States was working as a help desk. I didn't
interesting.
go for the big DBA.
Exactly.
But
You know,
the
I
interesting thing about it
want
in
to
IT is that you
talking
could
about that because there are
easily
a lot of
grow.
people. Sorry to cut you. I love the point that you're about to make because we say that and just to refresh our memories, guys, if you're joining us for the first time, this is Kyabi Tech IT Academy, and we're just hanging out with everyone. Feel free to join us. I see Grace joined us from Bafusam. Thank you for joining, and feel free to drop any questions you have for us, and we can answer them. We have our expert PRO here and instructor and everything, and he can, you know, answer everything, any and everything that you have. So I think the point that you were about to make, which I really think is very important, is we say that when you get training from Kyabi Tech in all of these different IT fields, SQL, Azure, AWS, cybersecurity. I mean, we talk a lot about six-figure seat. Like after this, you get a six-figure job,
Mhm.
and like I think this is the point that you were going to make. Like
Yes.
some people now begin to reject jobs that are not up to six-figure incomes when they are done training because they heard that it's supposed to be six figure, or that is six figure, or that the narrative they're hearing is six figure. It is there are six figures. That's a fact. But people have to also
Let,
understand
let-
that if you find something that is not six figures, you shouldn't underestimate it because, like, I think something that I've learned from you and I hear you say a lot is your first job, like whatever it is, you should take it because it's like your first, more like your experience with it, like practical, in a practical environment where you can actually and one good thing that I love about Kiawi Tech is the way you make all the mistakes and you're not punished, but you're not allowed to make those mistakes in a real work environment.
yeah.
So Kiawi Tech is more like your playground where you can make all the mistakes and
So
all the databases that you can do
yeah,
it. But
yeah.
you,
So Beverly, let me help you with putting this into perspective, right?
yeah, thank you.
Because I just want people to just understand how this thing happens, especially if you're in the United States. Please, we can talk. Let me first of all say, apologize to the audience that Beverly did not send me questions. Yeah, I would have prepared better answers. Next time, send me questions so that I should prepare
I just
answers to.
wanted us to hang
But
out. I
but
actually had questions, but I didn't want to send them because I love you when you're spontaneous.
yeah,
Grammy,
no, I like to be spontaneous. I really like to
right?
be spontaneous. Because let me tell you guys, let me just fix this so that we understand. Now, let's be very real and practical. Every job in every country and in every company has its categorization. It is more complex in the United States because it is not just the federal law, you also have the state laws
Right.
that can affect, right, your pay. Now let's not go into all of those complex ones. Let's just take a simple example, and this is what I tell my trainees in class. There are three kinds of, or four job steps as a DBA. You can have a junior role, right?
Yep.
Or let me say a trainee role, which are very hard to come by, which sometimes you call them internships or something. It's very hard to come by those ones, right? Then you
Mhm.
have a junior role, you have a mid-range role, and you have a senior role when it comes to DBA. Those are the four stages. Now, again, remember I told you at the beginning that interviews is a game. Yes, interview is a game. Bargaining for your pay is also a game. And I'll discuss that so that you understand it. So this is what I tell my trainees. If you see a job description that say DBA one, in most cases, even if they don't specify it, just know that that's a junior role. If you see DBA two, just know that that's a mid-range role. If you see DBA three, just know that that's a senior role. And I can put the link on the chat, guys. If you go to Bureau of Labor Statistics, you will see the categorized the ranges for how these jobs are being paid. That is the first thing. The first thing is what job was advertised. Was it a DBA one, DBA two, or DBA three? The pay ranges are different. Now, when you come now to that, you add what? Your education. In America, do you have a high school diploma? Your pay, you can still be a DBA one, and your pay is lower than somebody who is also DBA one, just by the fact that you have a high school diploma and
Yeah.
that person has an associate degree or a bachelor's degree. But all of them is DBA one. You have to understand that there are components that come in that contributes to what your pay should be. Don't listen to the story of six figure. We are not saying that you're not going to get six figure. That's not what I'm saying. Let me take an example for myself. When I started applying for DBA job, I'll be honest with you. The first offer I got from Florida at the time, with a company in Florida, was paying me 55,000 a year. That is half of six figures. But guess what, guys? I accepted that job. As a matter of fact, my service desk engineering job role at that time was making almost close to 80,000. But I accepted the 55,000, like almost 30,000 US dollar less than what I was making. This was just because I wanted to put my foot on the door. But guess what? Guess what? And that was the main statement I wanted to make to you. IT is one of the only careers that I know, maybe other people know some other, that I know that you can easily grow, climb the ladder. I only worked that job for 45 days. Within 45 days, I learned a tool called DPA, Solar Wind Database Performance Analyzer. When I interviewed for the job that I'm doing now, they asked me about the tool that I've ever used. I used that DPA to explain how I can resolve issues using that tool. That is what got me to this job. And I only worked that job for 45 days. And I
Wow.
moved up to my six figures from
Interesting.
55 to six figures.
That's quite a humble
You
journey.
have to understand the game. If you cannot understand the game, then you will say that people are singing six figures and it's not worthy, it's not working. No, it works. What Beverly was saying is that someone will be in the US, someone will be working a CNA job that probably is paying you $15 an hour. You have to make maybe 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day. You go there, you stay long hours to make life meet. And then you come to carry tech, you struggle through as training upon graduation. A job is offering you 75,000 US dollars a year. And you're saying, no, 75,000 US dollars is translated to, let's say, let me just give a 50%, that's like $35 an hour. That's an increment of $20 in your paycheck that you're done. You are saying no, you want a six figure. Come on, guys. Let's be serious. Let's be serious. You get me, Beverly. You
I do.
understand what I'm saying.
I
So
get
that is what we say. We want you to be six figure, and we can prepare you to be six figures. Okay.
that. Right.
However, depending on the company, depending on the state, depending on your qualification, do you have a high school diploma? Do you have an associate degree? Do you have a bachelor's degree? Right? Depending on all of these factors put together, will determine what your pay will be, and not just six figure. You can start on 75 and you put your foot on the door, and then and you continue to interview while working. And before you know it, you're on six figures, just like me. And a lot of my trainees have done that. I guarantee you.
Right. I mean, thank you, Gramilo, for sharing that. That's very on a very personal level, and I really appreciate that you can share that with people out there who probably are thinking of just a six figure. Like it's because it can become very. I like something you said at the beginning that Kyabi Tech is interested in you succeeding first, and not necessarily the amount, because I think that there are other schools out there that charge really higher for the same training, and Kyabi Tech gives this training with additional support and a lot of things that Gamila has already enumerated. I may not repeat, but it's very great to hear this from you personally, who is now an instructor, who is now senior DBA, and how just the humble beginning and just the humble process that you went through, accepting the job, putting your foot on the door. I like that sentence.
Oh yeah.
Grace, it's good. I mean, I think it should be a standardized phrase. Put your foot on the door, guys. Whatever it is, just put your foot on the door. So, thank you so much for sharing that. And I think that something that is also important for us to share is the upcoming training, the dates for the new batch, and when is orientation happening, the grand orientation. We already have a large number of people who have registered, and we're still looking out for more people who can join and be part of this transformational journey where and something that I love when something comes up, I just want to say before I forget, someone said that when you go through Kiabi Tech, even if you don't get a job, you don't leave the same. And that's something that I would like you, Grandmother, to elaborate on what that really means. What else can I leave Kiabi Tech with if I'm not getting a job? And if you can help us tell us about the upcoming training. What are the courses?
Right. Okay.
When
Yeah.
is the
So,
orientation date and how long and everything? Yeah.
oh yeah. So yeah. So for the first part of it, I will talk a little bit, and this will just be my perspective listening to other trainees. If you were on our celebration the week before when we had Sorel, she came on very emotional. She came off very, very emotional, and it was hard. And I mean, it was not. It wasn't that hard. Like, it was difficult for me to even understand how much impact the little things we do in Kawi Tech impact lives of people and families. And one of the statements she made, and I've listened to others done that, even people that have not had jobs, is that she now has a family in Kawite.
Wow.
If you leave Kawite, even without a job, you live with a family that goes with you, a family of people that you will meet in other, maybe social gathering, other things in life. You don't only live because you have that family. You also get advice on other courses, and that is what Kawitech is doing. Like this year, our one of our goals was to set up partnership with other training programs. And for those that followed us up, you realize that we set up a partnership with Metropole in Maryland that will be training data security using IBM Guardian. Um, and that, and if you listen carefully, I'm gradually transitioning to the second part of the question about our courses. So, and now I'm working with Professor Mafo, who runs the Common Sense Cybersecurity program, to actually merge with us in partnership to train people in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is one of the most wanted fields out there, like right now in the area of IT. Like the jobs are just there, like no one to work to do the job,
Mm.
right? So we are having that program that is also starting next month in October, most probably on the 7th of October. That the class is already there answering. Even as a matter of fact, today I received a call from one of the trainees that wants to join, asking about how is the course going to be structured, what certifications are they going to take, or progression, how long is the course, and all those important information that help you to train. Even the computer requirements, we have it for that particular program, right? And then on Saturday, 30th this month, we're going to be doing, which is next Saturday, we're going to be having our orientation, our grand orientation for SQL Server, right? Which is one of our main courses that we do training. If you want to become a DBA, please don't miss it. Or if you know someone that wants to become a DBA and he or she is not on this call, she's not listening to me at this point, please share our flyers, ask them to reach out to Beverly, to our communication department, or reach out to me. I don't really mind at all. This is what I love doing. I love talking to people on phone, providing them information about Caritech any day, anytime. And so reach out, and then we will be able to answer your question and help you to get started, right? We'll help you with your computer requirements. We'll help you with applying on our website. We'll help you to take our placement test, right? And then join a class. You make a determination which class you want to join. And it's good to start early, guys. Even help you through the onboarding process. Our student services representative, Rita and Elvis, are doing an amazing job, right? Those are some of the people that we hardly mention their name. We hardly even appreciate them. But Beverly, just because that thought has come to my mind, permit me as a director of public relations, I want to thank Rita so much for the work that she's been doing. As a matter of fact, she sent in um, a suggested copy of our mission letter for the cybersecurity program to me to edit it so that we can work on it. And she's just awesome. Like, she just took time and then she worked these things out behind the scene. And we'll never get an opportunity to say thank you. So thank you, Rita. Thank you, Elvis, for that department. So we have a student services department that is so agile. The other day, another trainee reached out to me. He completed from Caritech. He never got a job, but he needed a transcript and an end of course certificate so that he can apply to ICT University in Yaoundé. And I reached out to Rita. Rita, in less than 24 hours, she was able to pull up her records in our database to be able to build her transcript and send it over to her so that she can apply and get college credit for it. Right. So this is amazing, guys. This is just amazing. So those are the courses I offer. So just in a nutshell, again, the courses that we offer in Caritech were Microsoft SQL Server Database Administrator. We offer AWS cloud. We offer Microsoft Azure, if you want to do Azure. And then now we are starting the cybersecurity program. Um, SQL Server runs for 6 months, 6 months, 6 to 8 months. We say 6 to 8 months because the course structure will give you will complete in 6 months, and then we have to do your open offer letter for 2 months. Cybersecurity will run for 4 months, and then you do interview prep for 1 month. Azure runs for 4 months, and AWS run for 5 months. That is how our programs are subdivided. We are hoping that we'll continue to grow. We are looking into SOC analyst. I know that Beverly don't ask me what is a SOC analyst, but as just to let you know the amount of research we do out there to see what are the industry standards. What are the industry standards that we need to offer that will keep
Yeah.
our students better and better on every
Thank
day?
you. Thank
Yes.
you, Gramilo. That was very elaborate, and it's so you that's just you. Yeah, I mean, you are always very, you're always very elaborate on
Thank
everything.
you.
I love, and thank you so much for sharing all of that. Talking with every time I'm talking with you, I just feel like I should have a pen and paper to just be writing new words and new things that I'm learning from our conversations, because you always come up with new things in conversations that are worth learning, and that's why we call you Grand Milo.
I do try. Thank you.
That's why you're Grand Milo, because I mean you you bring so much to the table that yeah.
Yes,
So
please.
thank you so much. So are there any deadlines people should be looking out for? When exactly is the grand orientation happening for everyone? There any deadlines for applications as well?
Yes. We usually our deadline, the deadline for our application is usually like the right now is usually the day of the orientation, right?
Okay,
Like in this case for batch 15, it will be September 30th.
okay,
However, in the past we have been a little flexible to give to extend the deadline to give what we call late applications
okay.
of about 30 days, right? But
Mhm.
there's a requirement for it. You
Okay.
understand? The
Yeah.
reason is that if you already have, like, someone called me the other day from Massachusetts, and that person is already working as a help desk. If that person called me on September 30th, I will still give that person admission because he's
Okay.
already in the space of IT.
Okay.
I'm not gonna come on September 30th, like 30 days after classes have started, and then I start teaching computer basics again. No, you see what I'm saying? So we
Right.
can extend the application deadline a little bit, but it will be based off of how much did you score, or how much are you able to score on our placement test. But for
Okay.
now, our application deadline is September 30th.
Okay, thank you for saying that. September 30th, I think we already have quite a good number of people. We have a WhatsApp group as well for people who just show interest, like you're
Yeah.
interested in it. It's not like you're already doing the course. You just put in the WhatsApp group, and I think that Rita has been doing an amazing job by just dropping people into that forum where they can get more information and eventually decide whether they want to do the course or not. And then they get plugged into the different groups, 1, 2, and 3, and all of that, depending on what they choose. So like you were saying, it's a great job that the Students Services Department is doing to make sure that everybody gets a fair chance of being part of this training. And ultimately, like I say, Kyabi Tech brings this resources, brings this tools, and brings this platform to empower people. But they ultimately has to be you to make that decision that this is something I want to do. This is something that I want to intentionally make a life out of. So people, and I'm saying this because I get feedback from other trainees who haven't gotten jobs or who have gotten jobs. And feedback is very important, especially for an institution like this one, so that we can, make people understand that we are not promising you that you must get a job as soon as you're done. Because some people go with that narrative. They say, "Oh, well, you said I was going to get a job. I didn't get a job." So you just say things to get people to come to your academy. That's not what we're doing.
Yeah.
We're telling you that based on the track record of our trainees, we've placed a lot of people in the job, hundreds of people in the job market, and we're telling you that if those people can do it, you can do it. And so it's not us to come into your room and decide. And I always like when you talk about computer requirements, because it's a thing that causes so many trainees to like drop out in the course of the training or something like that. So I know that this would be elaborated like in a more fine way during the orientation and all of that. But I always just like when you just mention it, even in spaces like this, so people know, if they want to hop on this, they should know that computer requirements, I think, to begin to think about even before you join. So can help us give the specs, Gramilo. I'm not sure about what I.
Yes, sure. Of course, for the computer requirements, the problem when someone is coming to take a course like this, just say, "Oh no, I have a computer." No,
Right.
please, you don't have a computer until we are sure of the kind of computer you have, right? Because guess what? We are dealing with databases,
Mhm,
which means you're going to be pulling heavy data into that computer,
mhm,
and that computer need resources to be able to pull that heavy data. Remember at the beginning, I said one of our tools that we're going to get you access is the Microsoft SQL Server license copy that we're going to install on your computer, and you'll be pulling heavy databases. Remember, I also mentioned that you're going to set up you for success by setting up your computer that will mimic your work environment in such a way that you can be able to practice. Now, all of that need resources. You cannot bring an 8 gig RAM. No, we need 16 gig minimum. As a matter of fact, my own computer during my training was 24 gig, right? You have to look to be specific about our computer requirement. We're very specific about that. And that is, like Beverly said, that is number one thing that causes our trainees to drop out, especially when we reach module 4 or module 5. Module 5 of our training is mostly projects. You have to do projects left and right, this project, that project, and you have to really do it, right? So when you get there, that's where most trainees usually drop out because they did not buy the required computer, right?
right.
So it has to be 16 gig RAM, maybe it could be Core i5 or i7 processor, and then the hard drive must be 1 terabyte solid state drive, SSD, not the regular hard drive. It must be solid state drive, SSD. Look for those specifications, guys, and you will not have any issues. It will be painful if an instructor is teaching something in class and then you are not able to follow just because of your computer, not because of another reason, just because you're sitting there, you're not doing it, you're not practicing because your computer is slow, you cannot go faster, you're feeling like you don't want to hold back the entire class, right? Just get the right computer requirements. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much, Gramilo. That was very explicit. And I'm sure that even people who are going to watch this video after this would find it very informative and educative, in the build up to the grand orientation that we have. And I really appreciate you for taking out your family time. You mentioned family time to come and share it, and that's something that I find in you that I really appreciate. You're very selfless, and you put a lot of other people first, and that's a quality of leadership quality that I find in you, that's very powerful. And I think that other trainees that come onto this program will be able to tap into that. I think that in the last webinar, I think oh, guys, I'm also a trainee. Let me just say that. Yes. And of course, when we are on the other side of the seat, I mean, Gramilo is not like this, just so you know. He's like,
I'm not very nice like this.
Beverly, answer the question. And it's like, okay, I was sleeping. Oh my God, what did you say? So, and he gets offended
We
when
take
we
our job very serious in Kyabi Tech, so
and he gets offended when we are not getting the point. He would draw, he would pause, he will go to explain using kitchen utensils, and that is something that it's so amazing. He wants to make sure that we understand the point and not just cram, because one of the things is we just cram and then go ahead, go reproduce it. But he's really so committed to making us understand, and that's just a flair of the kind of instructors that you would find here at Kyabi Tech.
yeah,
And also just to say that that's something that also sets this academy apart, because the trainees or the trainers or the instructors are not just interested in you paying the money and all of that. They're really really interested in your personal growth and all of that. So I see Vandy saying that, trust me, I know that feeling. Gramilo all day. Hashtag Gramilo all day. Ramila, it's so amazing to see to talk to you in different settings, like talking to you here in a more relaxed way as opposed to having you in class. And I remember the other day you were like, group three might not be used to how harsh you can be. Group one and two are already used to this your words, so they already know. And then group three might not be used to it. And I'm part of group three. I'm like, okay, I think we can take it all in.
And they're not going to come back to my class again.
Right. And then I'm gonna come back. But and I think that that is something that really helps a lot of people to take the challenge. Like the other
Yeah,
student who said who felt that you got offended with him because he couldn't define what a database is. And I think that this is something that gets to most people. Like at some point you wake up and you don't even know what SQL means. You're like, what's the full
yeah,
meaning of SQL if you're doing the course? And I think sometimes it's just like accumulation of lots of information and you're just
yeah,
like struggling to get everything through. By the end of the day, that's always very encouraging, to push students ahead to want to be part of this wonderful community, which we have said that even if you don't get a job, even if you don't live with a job, you don't leave empty-handed. You live with a wonderful family, a community. And this is not just us saying. We're saying this from what we get as testimonials from people who have passed through this training and can testify to the fact that there is serious on-the-job support from the community, and that you are not left alone. And a lot of people who graduate come back to mentor other people, and that's a value, and that's a transferable skill.
And let me
And
quickly mention, Beverly, that there's one trainee right now. She's
right.
still in class, but she has gotten an internship somewhere as a data machine learning data engineer.
Hmm.
She told me that the knowledge she used in during her interview is an internship, paid internship.
Wow.
Yes, was from Kawi Tech that she actually was able, to do that from because
Right.
she came to Kawi Tech. So, and when I heard of that, it was very, very emotional for me. It was very exciting to hear that. And she's
Hmm.
still in class. She attending her class, still hoping to be a DBA upon graduation. And she's already doing an internship as a data engineer. So think about that, guys. Even if she doesn't get a DBA job and she stays as on that internship work, she might eventually get employed from that. So you never leave Kawi Tech empty. Never.
Right.
Just never.
Right. Thank you. I mean, that's very powerful to hear. And of course, like we always say, Kyabi Tech IT Academy is where your most innovative self
Innovative self
starts.
starts. Yes.
And I didn't even realize we've been chatting for like an hour, 23
I
minutes.
just realized
I
that.
mean, I was thinking our chat is going to last like 30 minutes or 45 minutes. And
Yeah, I actually budgeted for the 5 minutes myself.
keeps going and going, and it keeps getting more interesting. But I think that every good thing has to come to an end.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so
Unless we have a question from the chat. I don't see the chat. So,
oh, okay. You don't see the chat. Yeah. So I think that I've been displaying. We don't have like a question. We just have like
okay.
people saying, oh, I'm watching from this place. I'm watching from this place.
Awesome.
Somebody said she was watching from Bafusam. Somebody, comrades, Putkamer. There was somebody watching from Bamenda. Somebody talked about
Nice.
how she had seen the hop in Boyal. So we don't have like questions, but I'm sure that when people watch this later on, they might have a bunch of questions, and I'm sure that most of their questions would be answered already in this video, because I think that you have said quite a lot that people can always refer to and to be able to make sense of what this community is about. And the emphasis at the end of this conversation is on our grand orientation that is coming up on the 30th of September. That's just around the corner. That's a week from now, or less than a week, for everybody, anybody who is interested. We're talking about how you can move from a zero IT knowledge up to becoming an IT expert, an IT engineer, or anything that you can call yourself. So, Gramilo, again, I want to really appreciate you for this time,
Thank
and
you.
I'm hoping that we can do this again.
Sure, of course. Sure, of course. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Beverly. I appreciate you. Thank you for all those that were listening in to me today. Please do reach out. And again, our grand orientation is going to be Saturday, 30th. You're going to see Grand Milo again, never missing for any reason. So thank you
Thank you.
for
And
that.
thank you, Randy, for keeping the chat busy and for shouting out to us. That was a lot of positive energy coming there from our communications director, Vandeline Kyabi, on the chat. And it's nice to get that energy coming from you. Thank you so much for sending the positive vibes our way. It's been such a nice chat. And if there is no other thing to be said on my part, I would say thank you very much. Have a great rest of your weekend and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.